If your mic's on, turn it off. Turn to speak so we don't echo out the people in the back. Regardless of tonight, I'll make sure to bring some to your next research. Okay, so you can bring up for discussion with that first. Yeah, no, I'm glad you yeah, no, I appreciate that too, I understand. I just wanted to let you know that. What's he watching? Go Dogs, go. Budget church with them.
Yeah, there you go.
We're right around some shit. Just talk about fees for the first Fridays. You mean, not this one, it was after May's, okay. May's, okay, absolutely, yep. Okay, that's we could double May's. But, or I'm gonna try to get. And you were just doing it like regular math, it wouldn't add up, is what I'm saying. We're showing your other stuff, and they're negative, and I got I know, but just don't tell me about it. Really? Was it anybody? Did you guys get all the
No, that was for the meeting.
No, they're done.
last one again. See?
Yeah, very scary. These, okay. Weird that they got my property. Yeah. Did you know that we were going on? But still, I'm not getting out of the story. Domestic. Kind of that.
Because I mean, we lived in our house for years.
Yeah. I can't remember. Wait, yeah.
Call this meeting in order. Start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Invocation by Word of Life Church. Not here. Okay. Roll call.
Barrington. Here. Baskey.
Here.
Charles.
Here.
Smith.
Here.
Sabers.
Here.
Goldammer.
Here.
Gosher.
Knew I'd get him. Knew I'd get a little sidebar on him.
They're bothering you.
It's loud. All right. Approval of consent agenda items. Items appearing on the consent agenda may be removed by a city council member for discussion at the beginning of formal agenda items.
Nothing to remove. You want to go first, Tim? Okay. Nothing to remove, but the playground equipment, is that going to go into the old pool area, Kevin? Is that with the,
One room to the east from there.
whoops, hold it.
Yes, sorry. 1 minute. Joe already had that.
And maybe tell us a little about what's going in there, because I think that's really going to be nice.
It sounds larger than what it actually is. It's about 16 by 20 feet. It'll go in what's called, my microphone is.
Come up to the podium, Kevin.
I guess I'm.
So it's a multi-purpose activity room, the one where, I don't know what used to be in that space, but there's a horizontal climbing wall in there that's on the one wall to the south is going in that same space. It's approximately 16 feet by 20 feet. There's the upper deck that starts at 7 feet. So there's a slide and some other play apparatus up there, some items you can run into. There it is. They say it'll hold up to 40 people. We're thinking 25 to 30 would be more adequate as far as putting a limit on there. And they say up to 10 years of age, we're going to go with 7 or 8 and kind of play it by ear in terms of what we'll allow in there. We'll have it open during public times. There will be some closed times when it's only for birthday parties on Saturday afternoons. Parents will have to be in there with their kids. A parent won't be able to say, hey, I'm coming in here with a bunch of the neighbor kids as well. What else can I tell you about it?
Did you say that again about the neighbor kids?
Well, one person won't be able to say, hey, I'll bring all your kids in with me. And as far as doing that with the,
For like a one-to-one or?
well, as far as with the birthday party, we'll have to give that some consideration yet, because I didn't really get a definition on that. Because normally, when I was in a facility and we hosted birthday parties, it was pretty much the parent and a spouse, or perhaps an older sibling that were running that group. And perhaps that's what we'll be running with in such a case as that, because you know the kids you brought versus, hey, everybody come with me.
Well, you need to have a membership to the rec to use the
Membership or day pass, correct. Thank you for asking, Tim.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Anything else on the consent agenda?
Move to approve.
Second.
Ms. Church, second by Mr. Goldhammer. Further discussion? Anyone in the audience like to discuss the consent agenda items? Okay, roll call.
Charles.
Aye.
Smith.
Aye.
Sabers.
Aye.
Goldammer.
Aye.
Dosher.
Aye.
McCardle.
Aye.
Barrington.
Aye.
Baskey.
We missed the presentation for MADC on the consent.
Motion carried.
Unless you guys don't want to watch it.
All right. Yeah, we'll watch it.
Yeah, there's some good stuff in there.
Not Development and Dakota Heartland. Starting off with the Mitchell Chamber of Commerce, we welcomed 9 new members this quarter and held 2 ribbon cuttings, one at Design Art Group and one at Elite Lawn Solutions. The Ag Business Committee held a commodity seminar and an Ag in the Classroom event for area 4th graders. Government Affairs had 3 Leadership Mitchell sessions this quarter, one on business, industry, and city-county government. In February, we went to Mitchell Day at the Legislature in Pierre, and in March, we had technology, education, and boardmanship. We also held a District 20 Legislative Forum, coffee with legislators, State of the Schools luncheon, and a Cracker Barrel. For Connect Mitchell, we held 3 First Friday coffees, one at American Family, one at Mitchell United Way, and one at My Place Hotel. The Community Concierge hosted newcomer events this quarter. In January, they went to Palace City Brewing Company. In February, the Community Concierge presented at the South Dakota Governor Economic Development Conference, where she talked about her program in hopes that other communities around the state would copy that. In March, they attended Footloose Dinner Theater. We also hosted a chamber recognition event, a lunch and learn with creative advantages, and journey to success. Moving on to the Mitchell Convention and Visitors Bureau. We received the 2024 visitor spending data from the state. So in 2024, the CPD received $250,000 in subsidy funding. And that year, visitor spending generated $9.1 million in state and local taxes, delivering a $36 return for every city dollar invested. Even with a conservative estimate, halving the figure, the return is still $18 per dollar. Southeast South Dakota led the state in visitor spending, accounting for 40.2% of all tourism dollars. Davidson County alone saw $118.4 million in visitor spending, which is a 3.3% increase from 2023. Our staff also attended Pheasant Fest in Kansas City on March 7th through 9th, where we engaged with potential visitors and pheasant hunters to promote Mitchell as a top hunting destination. And then on January 31st to February 4th, our staff attended the ABBA Bus Conference, where they met with bus tour operators to promote Mitchell as a must-stop destination. They showcased customized tour packages, including food options, dinner theater experiences, and historical adventures designed to encourage groups to extend their stay. And moving on to the Mitchell Area Development Corporation. The MADC hosted a workforce retention summit in partnership with Dakota Wesleyan University, Northwestern Energy, the Department of Labor, and South Dakota Manufacturing and Technology. This was focused on lean training to make the workplace more efficient. The MADC also launched the Young Professionals Group with the goal of connecting young business professionals in town. We have so far held 3 trivia events on the second Tuesday of each month. In January, we did 90s pop culture. In February, we did movies. And in March, we did TV shows. The MADC, in partnership with the Department of Labor, hosted 3 workforce events. In January, a walk-in hiring event. In February, a drive-through hiring event. And in March, a statewide virtual hiring event. The first Governor House has been placed in the South Lake Housing Development, offering affordable and quality options for eligible residents. The MADC also secured a $1 million USDA loan for the development of the upcoming industrial park. We also started our Welcome to Your College program, where we welcomed 7 newcomers to Mitchell with a $100 gift card and a welcome pack. The MADC worked with High Plains Processing and the DOT Railroad Board to save almost 33% in interest due to a new rate from South Dakota Rail Authority. They will go from 2.95% down to 2% on $12.6 million. The MADC also held a strategic planning meeting where the goals came to support business expansion, generate revenue, and expand public perception. The MADC, Chamber, CDB, and Mitchell Main Street Beyond hosted our annual recognition event in January. We awarded the Main Street Champion to the Diamond Store, Community Volunteer to the People of Life Quest, Tourism Excellence to the Palace City Research Party, Family Business of the Year to Boyd Financial, Chamber Volunteer of the Year to Tammy Hagman, and the Harold Hagan Award to Lori Cooper. We are also proud to announce that Mitchell won the 2025 Community of the Year Award at the South Dakota Governor's Conference on Economic Development. This quarter, we also hosted Governor Larry Roden in Mitchell, where we toured Trail King, Boyd's Gunstock, High Plains Processing, and the upcoming housing developments. He also spoke and ate lunch with both the MADC and Chamber board members. And now Dakota Heartland Development Association. In Parkston, Kaler Agri-Services announced plans to build a value-added ag processing facility on the south side of Parkston. Utilizing Kaler's announcement, Parkston Area Development Corp plans to build a 40-acre business park to accommodate the future growth of this and other businesses. The PADC is investing $4+ million in total project costs using various funding sources for future business development. For housing, Dakota Heartland attended a Dakota Resources training event with board members from TRIP in Mitchell focused on ideas to help small communities renovate existing houses. Dakota Heartland also coordinated and implemented the 15th annual Corsica Arbor Day at the legislature with community representatives serving Dakota Tom sandwiches and conversations regarding hot topics like child care funding. Governor Roden addressed economic developers from across the state regarding economic development issues and his vision for the future of South Dakota during the Economic Development Professionals Association at the legislature in February.
So I just want to address a few things. My name is Johanna. I'm with the Mitchell Chamber and Development Corporation, and thank you for having us, Mayor and Council. I just would like to thank the Mayor for being a part of our Young Professionals group. He's done an amazing job with the technology and emceeing, so that's been really great. And then I just wanted to touch again on the visitor spending data. I really wanted to show you guys an ROI for the money that you guys are giving to the Convention and Visitors Bureau. So I took that $250,000, or I took the $9.1 million and divided it by the $250,000. Again, the $9.1 million is what was generated in 2024 in state and local taxes from visitor spending. And that's where I got that $36 return on investment. I did just want to see what would happen if I half the number. I know some of, the visitor spending is coming from people that are, a 50-mile radius. We do advertise to that group of people. We do have a regional advertising. And also some of the money is going to the state. Again, they do pay for our highways and our schools, so that's important. So halving that number, it's still $18 per $1 invested into the CVB. So I just wanted to reiterate the return on investment of those dollars. Any questions?
What was it last year?
I don't have that in front of me right now, but I can bring it to you.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, citizens input. If you need to address the mayor and members of city council on an item that was not on the agenda, excluding personal items, please come forward to the podium and state your name and your concern. Presentations are limited to 3 minutes. Items will be considered, but no action will be taken at this time.
Good evening, Council and Mayor. My name is Stuart Hansen. I just have a few things I wanted to talk about tonight. Several people have asked me how much the city actually made on the sale of the public access areas at the lake. I believe the total sales amounted to $995,000. But once you figure in the advertising cost, the cost of the auctioneer, tree removal, clearing brush, backfilling with gravel, moving utilities, vehicle expense, everything all in, how much did the city really make on the lots? I also wondered that too, and I think it is a fair question. At the April 7th City Council meeting, when talking about subsidy funding for nonprofits, I have to agree with Mrs. Charks. She said that she is a person that has always set goals for herself, even as a little girl. I also set goals for myself, and I certainly wouldn't want someone telling me what goals I should be setting or attaining. On the other hand, if she or I were receiving tens of thousands of dollars in subsidies, money that didn't need to be paid back, then I'd have to agree with Mr. Bathke and the mayor. Goals for that money should be stated and achieved. If those goals aren't achieved, then the reason for not achieving them should be discussed at the following year's subsidy requests. Accountability and transparency is what a lot of people want from our city government. Also, when talking about subsidy funding, Mrs. Charks, I believe you said, the people trust the council to be fiscally responsible. And the reason I bring this up is because at the March 3rd work session, when talking about the pontoon boat the city purchased to be a revenue maker, Mr. Bathke asked how many times it was rented out. The answer from Mr. Nelson, the Park and Rec director, was 0. Why? Because as Mr. Nelson stated, they didn't have a lift for it, they didn't have a dock for it, and it needed to be underneath a full-time staff person. Sounds to me like you put the cart way before the horse. Now, the council is talking about surplusing it and selling it, since the lake will be empty. So instead of a revenue maker, I'm sure the city will lose money on the sale. Don't you think the dock and lift and someone to monitor it should have been in place before the pontoon was purchased? Because the purchase of the pontoon would have been the easiest to accomplish. So that being said, I think a lot of people would say that that wasn't being very fiscally responsible. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to address the council?
Yeah, this is Jay Wempe, Mayor, City Council members. Thanks for letting me come here tonight. First off, I'm going to start with my ask. I'm asking you to create equally fair spots for all vendors at all Mitchell events. Priority, if you can't create an equal and fair, then priority to be given to Mitchell businesses and residents. After all, they're paying your taxes. And lastly is for you to take action on this in the future. Okay, so with that said, Mayor, thank you for posting out your Facebook, thanking all the small businesses. If you haven't seen that, everybody should look at it, March 24th. Small businesses investing money here in Mitchell. Okay, now I'm going to speak specifically about Pre-Sturgis, but it really should be all events. The Pre-Sturgis event on 5th and Main has a parking lot. Vendors are supposedly given that spot. Late people to the show, new vendors, Michelle's Mad Batter, also known as Matilda's Coffee and Desserts, came late to the game because she wasn't here years ago. She was put on 3rd and Main, 2 blocks farther down. If we can't create a fair and equal spot, change the spot. Put all vendors together. Okay, so now, Pre-Sturgis Party is just one of them. This could be with every event, be it the Corn Palace Festival, be it a soccer tournament. If you have one vendor in the field, you have to let all vendors in the field. Otherwise, you got to put them all out in an equally accessible spot. Baseball games, tournaments, you're talking about possibly having vendors there. Somebody else approached about having a fair vendor fee for all vendors. Maybe an annual vendor fee. Maybe a different fee for Mitchell residents and businesses. Why should Mitchell people be punished to have a business here? So, I sent you guys some documents, some ideas. Please review them. I also sent an Exhibit A. I took the name out specifically so there was no fallback on that person. So again, what do I want? Equally fair spots for all vendors. And if you can't make it equally fair, Mitchell first. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to address the council?
Dave Sietsema, Corn Palace, and I just wanted to thank the Corn Palace Board for their choice of entertainment this year for the festival. If you haven't seen it or know about it, we released last week, or the 17th, we went on sale with tickets for Bret Michaels and on a Saturday night and Justin Moore on Thursday night. So tickets are going well, and just wanted to report that they did a heck of a job. So we're getting lots of inquiries and been able to sell some tickets. So nice job, Corn Palace Board.
Thank you.
Sorry, my son decided to give me his gun like right before I was going to stand up. I'm Elizabeth with Mitchell Main Street and Beyond, and I'm excited to announce that First Fridays is kicking off on May 2nd, which is already 2 weeks away, and it's going to be a knockout. We have the grand opening of one of our small businesses down at Fifth and Main Building. He is sponsoring some inflatables down there and a mechanical bull, so come out with your kids, and adults will be allowed on the mechanical bull and have fun. Right there at the Fifth and Main intersection, we are going to be unveiling Hope. And I invite everyone on City Council and Mayor Hansen to come to the ceremony. That will start at 6 o'clock. We got Dakota News Now and local news reporters and stations coming to cover the story as well. It will be Mitchell's statue down there at Fifth and Main. I'm trying not to give too much away because we want to have that grand reveal feel. And then years going forward, Hope will also have a Hope of Mitchell Award, which will be open to anyone in the Mitchell community, and it will be simple as possible, a one-pager in my mind, that You can nominate anyone that inspired hope in the Mitchell community, and then the foundation board from Hope will come together and we'll add that award into the annual banquet. So it's a good thing. It's huge and it's a one of a kind, so why not have it in the world's only Corn Palace in the same kind of loving block, 1 block south of here. So that's not all. We have 9 food trucks coming that night. It's going to be a banger, so people wanted food truck extravaganza, come out. We usually try to do a smaller 4 to 5 food trucks so that everyone gets a piece of the pie, but 9 is a lot, so we need the crowd to come out and support them all. Funk Fried from Sioux Falls will be coming. That is a popular request, so we brought them back. We'll have regular vendors on Main Street, a show and shine. You can enter off of 5th East Avenue. Park it, it's free parking, it's just good time, bringing young minds, old minds, and bringing them all together. Dirty, new, shiny, we welcome everything. Kid Pedal Pole will be down in front of Main Street Mercantile and a bunch of other things filling in all the way between. It's gonna be really good. I know I only got a minute left. May 1st, May 1st is going to be the kickoff of the 2nd annual Dessert Rumble, which last year was huge for Mitchell. Mitchell's Mad Batter actually won it last year, so congratulations. We'll see who takes home this year. And then this weekend is Ladies' Day Out. It is the biggest one in a while. We have 40 participating businesses, so get out there, support your small shops, and we look forward to having a great time in Mitchell. Thank you all. Any questions? Yeah? All right, thanks, guys. That's great.
Thank you. Yeah, would anyone else like to address the council? All right, we'll move on to mayor and city council discussion items. Does anyone have anything?
I want to say thank you to Jordan, Mayor Hanson, I should say, and his friend from Sioux Falls for the boxing deal. It was a huge hit. It was very well presented. I didn't expect that. I thought it'd be a little more chaos. I really did. And I had people say that to me, that they couldn't believe how well it was presented. It was very organized, very organized.
They were in charge, not me.
Yeah, and 9-year-olds, I think the oldest was 26.
9 to 26 years old.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, well attended. I know Kevin was there. It was a good time. It was a good time. I stayed for the whole thing, every match.
It was fun.
Even got to see a guy get knocked out.
I did have a couple things. One, Kevin, when are the bathrooms out at the parks going to be turned on?
Oh, I can answer that if you don't want to get up, Kevin. Yeah, this week. They're going to be turned on this week because now we're above freezing temperatures.
Oh, perfect. Because I was out at the Sandy Beach and I was really impressed at how cleaned up, and it seems like we're ready for spring and summer. We went out on a walk out of the lake this weekend, and I don't know, it felt like summer was already here, and I was like ready to go, and then I was ready to go and couldn't go. And, yeah, there we are. But good job to your staff in having the parks ready to go for summer, even though we're not quite there yet. I was really excited to see how well the facilities and everything looked getting ready to go into the summer season. So very well done. Yeah.
You get your microphone.
Microphone. We're kind of worse, but not so much. We have a little vandalism going on in Dry Run Creek as well as Gator. And I've almost swallowed it. But they are working on it cleanup very much so. Thank you.
Okay.
I have one thing.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, actually, I was going to do this during public commentary, but sorry, I didn't jump in fast enough. Kevin, can you just talk to us a little bit about the article that was in the paper about the baseball, the change in what the Park and Rec will be doing in terms of baseball?
You might just come up to the podium. I think we're kind of,
Just take the podium over there.
we're like 1 month away.
That was one of the things I'm going to talk about.
I believe what the article indicated was that more competitive leagues will be going to other outside organizations, and the skills and drills will be handled by recreation.
So I guess I want more details, because that's what I read too. So will we have T-ball for little kids?
Yes.
Will like the elementary kids still be able to play, like, I'm thinking about the old days when my kids played baseball and softball. Will those still be there?
There still is opportunities up to about 10 years old in terms of instructional and in-town play.
Okay, so we'll have multiple teams
Yes.
at like the kindergarten, first grade through like maybe 4th or 5th grade.
Correct.
And they'll still be competing like they always have.
And some of them younger than that are already competing as well, so some will be doing both.
Some will be doing both.
So if parents choose to involve their 8 and 9-year-olds in competitive teams, they are welcome to do that, but we'll still offer in-house or in-town opportunities up to about 10 years old.
We'll still have like the college and high school kids that will be doing the pitching and coaching like they've been in the past. Is that
Correct.
Okay, great, thanks.
You're welcome.
I'm so happy.
I'm going to stand in case there's another question.
Yeah, you might as well.
I'll wait till you get back to your seat to ask a question. Okay, anyone else? I got a few things here. So, like Stephanie said, AV equipment, if you guys are at home and you see all this stuff here, it's because we had a failure of some stuff over there. And I think within the next 1 to 2 months, everything's ordered. It's been like a month. Maybe you can give us an update.
It should be completely fully installed by June is what they were telling us. They were hoping that one piece that would allow us to use our former system would be here earlier, but now they're saying June for that too. So we're getting closer.
Yeah, it'll be nice. It'll be good sound and good audio and everything will be nice. Second thing is the lake. So we've been having weekly meetings with the lake bar engineering, and it sounds like permitting process is going very well and everything's still on track. And I think, would you say May or June, we're gonna have another lake meeting? June, right before the end of spring. And then we'll give everyone an update on that. A multi-purpose facility, at one of the bid meetings, the bid for, we talked about a multi-purpose facility building. So I allowed Mike Bathke, Councilman Bathke, to kind of explore that and set up a committee to see if it's feasible or necessary or needed, because that's kind of what they requested. And then the last one is rental inspections. We're getting very close with that. We've had several very long meetings talking about that. It's been very interesting. So I'm hoping for everyone that keeps asking, that should be coming forward soon. Within the next month or two, you think? Yeah, next 60 days. We'll hear some more about that. By the way, do you guys want to hear the first one is, well, the council's here to decide. Do you want to have the first reading or do you want to have like a discussion items first? Because it's probably going to be a pretty long, I mean, every meeting we've had so far is like 3 hours long.
On rental inspections. Yeah.
On rental inspections, yeah.
Stephanie, do you want to? I was going to say at the last group meeting that we had on the rental inspections, the suggestion was to possibly do a special meeting with council just for discussion on the ordinance, kind of walk through it, see if we can get some input before we bring it for a formal first reading. So I don't know if the council is open to that, but it's probably the last thing that we discussed.
And it wouldn't necessarily have to be a special meeting. My comment was whether council would want to first just have discussion on the ordinance and then bring it back for a first and second reading, or if you just want it on the agenda for first reading. I know there's only, our next 5th Monday will probably likely be budget. I mean, that's June timeframe.
I'm just guessing there's going to be some changes you guys want to make because some of them are pretty interesting. John was there.
Yeah, I sat in on the last one and, they kept referring to maybe this would be something that the council should decide. And I countered that you folks have spent all these countless hours on putting this together. We would be foolish not to take your recommendation the way you have hammered it back and forth. I can't see spending another 12 hours as us rewriting everything they did. Certainly, you could send out your proposal to us and we could read it on our own and point out some questions we might have, but to redo it from the start is not on my agenda.
Yeah, I don't want to do that either.
And you guys had a really good cross-section of different people on the task force.
Yeah.
You had apartment owners.
We had apartment owners, property managers, the state electrical inspector, someone from the courthouse, that equalization office, tenants,
You guys
fire.
put a lot of thought and effort into it. I like John's idea. Let's send it out and we can bring our questions back. We don't need to rehash what you guys have already done.
And I think what you will see on the open items, or what they were seeking council feedback from, is how far you want the ordinance to go. Because there comes a point where, do we want to inspect for this, or do we want to just grandfather everything in. That's where some of those decision points came
Yeah,
in.
and it's probably 2 or 3 items out of the whole thing.
Yeah.
Egress windows in a basement apartment that was built that way, but now we require an egress window in any bedroom. Do we want to let a rental and property have a bedroom in the basement without a window?
And then, how big should the window be? You know?
But that's already code.
Right, it is code.
So, I
It's
mean, we shouldn't
it's
even have to
fire,
address
it's
that.
fire code for 2 units and above. So, I mean, that's pretty simple, but like a single-family rental house where someone's living in the basement, are we gonna require them to cut in a window for $2,000 to $5,000 so they can rent it? That's pretty much the biggest thing, I think.
Yeah, and we do have some existing rental structures that are 2 or more that don't have those windows in a basement bedroom. And so do we grandfather them in, or does everybody have to be compliant with code? So those are the kind of things that ultimately you're gonna have to take a position on, because how far does council want that rental inspection ordinance to go?
I think that was the biggest one was the egress windows. It's obviously a life safety issue.
So
But it's gonna be a
maybe
big
what
hit.
you can do is, if you can just put those bullet points together.
Yep. Yeah,
when you
Justin-
send it
Justin has
out,
that.
And then that way we can really hone in on the issues you're wanting us to give some direction to.
Yep, perfect, okay. Okay, anything else? All right, moving on. Board of Adjustment, entertain a motion for the city council to recess and sit as a Board of Adjustment.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Goins, second by Mr. McCardle. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Hearing an action on application for Jensen Capital and Development LLC conditional use permit. Jensen Capital and Development LLC has applied for conditional use permit for multifamily dwellings located at the southeast corner of East Spruce Street and Urbana Drive, legally described as shown on the agenda. Mr. Jenigus.
Mr. Mayor and Council, Planning Commission recommended approval of this 5-0 with 1 absent and 1 abstention. It was published in the paper, neighbors were notified, signs posted. There were no responses for or against this. Back in October of '23, Jensen Capital and Development rezoned this from urban development to highway business for this purpose of the multifamily. So now they're finally bringing their plan to fruition for doing a 10-plex, 5-plex on each side. It meets all the setbacks for highway business. Mr. Jensen could not be here. He's actually at a development court meeting, I believe he said in Trip. So he's a busy guy selling houses everywhere. So I can answer any questions that you have for me, or I can get a hold of him if I need to.
Motion approved.
Motion by Mr. Sabers,
Second.
second by Mr. Goldhammer. Further discussion? Anyone in the audience like to discuss this? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Hearing an action on the application for Doug and Heidi Gerke variance permit. Doug and Heidi Gerke have applied for a variance permit for the attached accessory building of 4,600 square feet versus 2,000 square feet located at 304 North Matty Street, legally described as shown on the agenda. Mr. Jenigus.
Mr. Mayor and Council, Planning Commission recommended approval of this unanimously. It was published in the paper, signs posted, neighbors were notified. There was 2 letters in favor of this. Questions during Planning Commission was obviously the shed to the north. That one is about 9,000 square feet. That did require a variance for that as well. The houses to the south are about 1,100 and 1,200 for their existing. There was a building permit issued at the 3,000 square foot when the building permit was issued. It should have required a variance at that time, but the zoning, there was a zoning mix-up as to whether it was urban development or R4. They have the footings poured for the whole house already in the garage. Now they're asking to extend their garage that isn't built yet to a bigger size, to the 4,600 total square feet. Can answer any questions that you have.
Is it going to be attached?
Yes, it's all attached. Yep.
I'll move to approve.
Okay.
Second.
Second by Mr. Smith. Any further discussion? Anyone in the audience like to discuss this? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Reconvene as city council. Entertain a motion for the Board of Adjustment to adjourn and the city council reconvene in regular session.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Mr. Goldhammer, second by Mr. Barrington. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Action to award bid for rock chips project number 2025-10. Mr. Schrader.
Yep, Mr. Mayor, Council. Bids were open on April 15th at 1:30 PM in City Hall Council Chambers. One bid was received by Spencer Corey's. The unit price was $19.60 for a total price of $49,000. The previous year's bid was $17.60. The bid tabulation is attached for your information, and we do recommend approving the bid to Spencer Corey's. And I can answer any questions you may have.
Motion approved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Smith, second by Mr. Shavers. Further discussion? Would anyone in the audience like to discuss this? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Action award bid for petroleum products project number 2025-13.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, Council, bids were opened on April 15th, 1:30 PM in City Hall Council Chambers. One bid was received by Jebro Inc. For our chip seal oil. That price was $697.52 per ton for a total cost of $255,989.84. Our fog seal was $525.52 per ton for a total cost of $75,674.88. Total combined cost is listed in the report. City staff does recommend approving the bid to Jebro for the materials. This year we plan on doing approximately 220 city blocks or 13.5 miles. And I can answer any questions you may have.
Joe, is it pretty uncommon to just only have one bid on the petroleum there?
That's the way it's been since I've been here.
Rock
Jebro's-
chips I can see because they're so close with trucking, but,
Yep. Prices were down, or rock prices were up. Our oil was down. So we actually came in under budget, more than what we expected to, so.
Move to approve.
second.
Motion by Mr. Ricardo, second by Mr. Severs. Further discussion? Would anyone in the audience like to discuss this? Okay, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Action to approve agreement A 2025-30, Mitchell Corn Palace Service Agreement. Ms. Elwine.
Mayor and council, included in the packet is a service agreement between the city of Mitchell and Mitchell Area Chamber to operate the gift shop in the Corn Palace during the summer season. This will extend for 1 year into 2026. Our current agreement states that the city and chamber must agree prior to May 1st to renew for an additional year. So this agreement would renew for 2026. The rental fee is being increased from $165,000 to $180,000 for the 2026 summer season. The current rental rate of $165,000 was set in 2023 for the 24 and the 25 seasons. So the increase represents a 9% increase to the rent, 9% increase to the rent, which accounts for inflation from 2023 to 2026. And I can answer any questions that you have. The chamber did already act on the agreement, and as you can see in the packet, you have the signed agreement from the chamber, so it's just waiting for council approval.
Motion by Mr. Sharks.
Second.
Second by Mr. Bethke. Further discussion? Would anyone in the audience like to discuss this? All those in favor of the motion say aye. Hold on, man. He was questioning.
Maybe I'll let you vote first. We look forward to another great tourist season. We're making some new investments into what we do. We have a new video, $20,000 video that we're upgrading. It was kind of old, and so we have a new video that's coming. During the American Bus Association conference, Doreen Nelson and Jennifer Haddon from our office went to that conference. They learned that historical reenactments are things that our tour bus operators, or the people that come to visit the Corn Palace, want to see. And so we're going to have people dressed up doing some historical reenactments, something to make the visitor experience something more memorable that they enjoy. So.
I love that.
Any questions?
All right. Any further discussion after that? Okay. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Action to approve Agreement A 2025-31, Solid Waste Management Program Grant for Purchase of Tractor Scraper at Landfill with the South Dakota Department of Agriculture and Natural Resources. Mr. Schrader.
Yep, Mr. Mayor, Council. City Council approved a grant application on January 6th of '25 to the South Dakota Department of Agriculture and Natural Resources Solid Waste Management Program for a new tractor scraper to be used at the landfill. The SDDNR has awarded the city a grant of up to 20%, not to exceed $241,000. Staff recommends council approval and grant authorization for the mayor to sign the grant agreement and other applicable documents.
Move to approve.
Motion by Mr. Goldaner. Second by Mr. McCardle. Any further discussion?
So we have the tractor for getting a new scraper.
It's one unit, tractor scraper.
Okay.
Yep,
Okay.
one single unit.
Okay.
Okay, any further discussion? Anyone in the audience like to discuss this? All those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Action to approve Agreement A 2025-32, real estate purchase west of landfill with Jim River Ridge Farms. Mr. Schrader.
Yep, Mr. Mayor, Council. Staff is recommending the purchase of a 160-acre parcel of property located to the west of the landfill property from Jim River Ridge Farms. You can see on the screen, that is the piece of property we are talking about tonight. Current landfill has a solid waste being placed in cells 1, 2, and 3, and the fourth cell was constructed in 2023. There are a total of 14 cells that will be constructed at the current landfill. The 2024 landfill report stated that there is approximately 115 years of capacity remaining until final closure. The purchase agreement with Jim River Ridge Farms is for $3,480,000 to be paid over 10 years. The current owner will still own the property, pay taxes, and operate the property until the annual 10-year payments are complete. The parcel is irrigated from the city wastewater treatment lagoons. The city would be required to relocate the existing irrigation piping through the property to maintain irrigation to adjacent properties that are currently served within the city when city improvements require it. The intent would be to lease the property once we take ownership until it is needed for landfill purposes. Staff recommends council approval and to grant authorization for the mayor to sign. I can answer any questions you may have.
Just quickly, so if we were to lease it, is this good farming land? Is that what this would be leased for?
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
But is it currently being farmed?
Yep.
Okay. So probably the same people, 10 years, they would be the ones that would probably be leasing it?
So-
Does that sound right? Or not necessarily?
We would put it out to bids like we do with our other agricultural property that we possess.
Okay. just
Joe,
curious.
obviously the you okay? The proximity obviously is to our advantage. Give us the existing landfill life approximately, and then what this would add to it then.
So like I had stated, right now we have approximately 115 years of capacity left, and that is complete closure mounted up. You know, as we're using this property, it might make financial sense for us to move into that piece of property sooner and bring them tiered down and incorporate those as we're moving. I don't necessarily see it in the near future, and that's why we are doing the 10-year lease with them, so that way we do not need a loan to purchase the property. And we can recoup some of our costs back when we do rent. It's an owner that is willing to sell, and I feel like anytime that property is available for sale next to a facility like this, I feel like it's a hard situation to pass up.
And after the 10 years, we can get some rent money out of it then.
That's correct, yep.
And who knows if that'll be in 10 years.
Joe, I didn't really understand what you meant about you may do it sooner and tier it. What did you mean by that?
So meaning 113 years is left on this landfill. So you might get to year 60 and find that, it's more economical for us to move trash to the west versus keep going south. So there might be a cost savings in being able to, move trash, say, from east to west across the property rather than keep moving south. Start incorporating that property that we have. Yep.
So, and just to clarify on your earlier comment too, going out for an RFP for lease payments wouldn't happen until that 10-year purchase period is over.
And in the interim, the current owner would
Right.
be
Yep, correct.
This is more looking out for the future, because a lot of us probably won't be around by the time that thing's being used, so.
You are exactly right.
The future's gonna love us.
Yeah.
So Joe, is the terrain pretty much set up about what with our current section that we've got?
Yep,
Or
I did.
A little bit different?
I did have our landfill engineer take a look at it to see if they had any concerns before we purchased it. And they said they didn't see any concerns and they thought it was a good purchase as well.
Joe, is that a creek running on that, maybe the southwest corner?
Yep, there's a natural drainage that goes through there. Once the ponds are built, it would all be engineered to reroute that drainage so that we could utilize our facilities as needed. We currently, in our existing, you can see that pond, or that dark area that is to the, Mayor Hanson pointed, yep, that one. That actually is a detention pond of clean water, I'll call it, not landfill water, that actually does drain to the south. So in the future, we could incorporate or move that pond to get it into that natural drainage that's further to the west that could help us utilize our property better.
Okay. I would entertain a motion for this.
Move to approve.
Motion by Mrs. Starks, second by Mr. Barrington. Any further discussion? Anyone in the audience like to discuss this? All those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Action to approve resolution R 2025-28, plot of Lot 7, Block 6 of Woodland Heights, First Edition. Mr. Jenigus.
Mr. Mayor, Council, Planning Commission recommended approval of this unanimously. This follows along with their master plan down in the area. It meets all the zoning requirements for this. I can answer any questions that you have.
Move to approve.
Motion by Mrs. Starks.
Second.
Second by Mr. McCardle. Further discussion?
I'll abstain.
Anyone in the audience like to discuss this? Okay. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries with one abstention. Action to approve resolution R 2025-29, plot of lot 10, block 5 of Woodland Heights, First Edition. Mr. Jenigus.
Mr. Mayor, Council, Planning Commission recommended approval of this unanimously as well. This follows along with their master plan and it meets the zoning requirements for the area as well. I can answer any questions that you have.
Move to approve.
Motion by Mr. Goldhammer.
Second.
Second by Mr. Sabers. Further discussion?
I'll abstain again.
Okay. Anyone in the audience like to discuss this? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Action to approve resolution R 2025-30, plot of lot 1 of Olinger Addition in this, as shown on the agenda. Mr. Jenigus.
Mr. Mayor, Council, Planning Commission recommended approval of this unanimously. This is outside city limits, but within the ETJ, so it's city zoning jurisdiction. It's down on 256th and 408th. Applicant is combining two parcels of land that they currently own, putting it into one plat so that they can get an ag exemption, which is over the 25 acres that's required. This is 27 acres. County Planning Commission and County Commission will have to hear this as well because it is within the 3 miles of city limits. They'll hear it at their May meetings. I can answer any questions that you have.
Move to approve.
Motion by Mr. McCardle, second by Mr. Barrington. Further discussion? Would anyone in the audience like to discuss this? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Action to approve resolution R 2025-27, vacation of public rights of way, a portion of Windsor Street. Mr. Jenigus.
Mr. Mayor and Council, we did put this in front of Planning Commission. It's not required to do so, just so we could get their input on this. They unanimously motioned to approve this vacation. I did send out letters to the neighbors to the south of where this is going to be at, so if they were aware of this as well. I did not receive any letters from them at all. So from that, for Windsor Street, they'd like to vacate everything to the north up to 11th Avenue there for the purpose of some practice fields. This isn't the most recent drawing that they've given. There will be a storage pond in the area as well for drainage. And then if this does get approved, you can see in the in the packet, there is a plat that they would be bringing further to this board for doing the cul-de-sac that we would require for this area. There are utilities that are in Windsor Street currently. There's a 50-foot wide temporary easement that would go with this vacation, and then if it were to be approved and be platted, there would be a permanent 50-foot wide easement. So that way we could go in there anytime that we had issues, dig up the ground and get back into it. I can answer any questions that you have for me on this.
Move to approve.
Mr. Goldhammer. Second by Mr. McCardle. Any further discussion? Would anyone in the audience like to discuss this? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. First reading on ordinance O 2025-4, providing for staggering of mayoral and city council elections. Mr. Johnson.
All right, so one of the last meetings here, we had the request to bring this item back for council consideration. I did put together two alternatives for the council to look at tonight. We can move forward with one of these, or if there's another option that council wants to look at, we can bring that back next time. So first option in front of you would keep everybody on their existing 3-year terms, but what it would do is move the mayor to our current off year. So Stephanie's got the table up there in front of you, the way that it's proposed right now. Council 1 would stay on for election in 2026. Council 2 would stay on for election in 2027. They'd be on for those 3-year terms, and then the mayor would serve one 4-year term, and then in 2031 would resume standard 3-year terms. So that's just how you get them to the current off year. The other alternative would be to move everybody to 4-year terms. You can see the table on how you do that. Basically what you would do is starting in 2026, you'd start staggering. You'd have seats, let's see, seat 1 and ward, there we go. Seat 1, wards 1 and 2, basically what you'd do is you'd split the wards and the seats up so that you're only electing 2 council members in any given year. And then the mayor would be tacked on to one of those years. So you'd have a 4-year election cycle where you would go 2 council, 2 council, 2 council, 2 council plus the mayor. So you can see how that is all laid out there for you. You know, we've talked about some other options in the past. These were the 2 that I thought seemed most in line with the past discussion that we've had. So I guess with that, we can open it up to council questions or discussion.
So for anyone looking at this one, because it took me a while to get through it, this middle part that you see here is really the part to get people implemented into the new terms. And then when you see these, this section over here on the right, that's what it would look like moving forward.
Yep, so the 2 in the orange you'd see, those are currently up for election in 2026. What you'd do is you can't shorten anybody's term that's currently serving it. So when you do the new election, you have to stagger their term at that time to get them on the normal cycle. So in 2026, you'd break those in half. You'd have one do a 2-year term, one do a 3-year term so that they get staggered starting in 2028. And then in 2027, you do the same thing with the other half of the council. One is serving a 3-year term, the other moves to a 4-year term right away, so.
So going back to this current one that you're showing up, if I'm understanding you correctly, then the off year, which we currently have when there's no elections, it would be just the mayor eventually.
Right.
Right?
Yep.
So we'd still do 4 council members, and then the mayor by itself.
Yeah, so you don't see the current off year on there right now, but obviously we're in that right now in 2025. The next schedule for it would be in 2028. We would skip that and still have an off year that year because you can't have the mayor serve a 1-year term under state statute. So you put them, you have them do a single 1-year, or excuse me, a single 4-year term, and then that rotates them directly onto that 2031 off year so that they're on their own year.
So one of the questions I was asked, so instead of a 4-year, you could also do 2 years before you get into the,
Yep. So if you don't, it's your decision if you want to make it. You don't have to do a single 4-year term. You could also do 2-year terms to get them on the cycle there, but you can't do a single 1-year term because state statute doesn't allow you to do that. So we can't have the mayor elected in 27 to serve a 1-year term to get them on the off year in 28. You've got to stagger it over, basically 2 election cycles.
I was just gonna say, the big thing is, do you want 3-year cycle, or 3-year terms, or 4 years, right?
Yeah, and honestly, that, I was just gonna piggyback on that. The city itself has been 3 years forever. And evidently, people were comfortable with it, and I that's the way I'm leaning right now, unless there's some arguments to show me that this other one, which is laid out very well, but it's the other one is just so much simpler, I believe, and we're just keeping everybody the same and just turning the mayor's chair into 1 additional year, which I actually kind of like.
I agree. I think the 3 years has been going on since, I've lived here my whole life. As long as I can remember, it's been 3 years, and I've never had anybody complain about 3-year terms or want it longer, so I think the 3-year terms is the way I'd want to go too.
Yeah, I think that's good. The only thing I would worry about was with a 4-year term is the number of candidates you might get for the mayor spot. I don't know that if it was a 2-year term, you might get more people interested in that position. And so that was one of the reasons why I thought if he even did a 1 year, and I had emailed Justin about that, and then found out about the state statute. And so I thought maybe even a 2-year term, or 2 back-to-back 2-year terms, and then going on to a 3-year cycle would be the best option, in my opinion, to try and get the best candidate pool, and then obviously giving the people of Mitchell the most options, which I think then is the best democracy.
I also like the 2-year terms. I think that's, gives it more exciting.
I've discussed this with Mayor Hanson before. Are we to the point where we have a full-time mayor? I don't know the answer to that. I don't know. I know there's some structuring that would have to change, I'm assuming.
actually, you got to remember, elected officials aren't employees, they're elected officials. So we have had mayors that have worked 40-plus hours a week, and we've had mayors that work 20 hours a week. We don't set the hours for those elected officials, just like we don't set your hours.
I understand
So it's a
that.
different
I understand that, but I guess I'm going that way because I've paid attention to what Mr. Hansen's doing, and he's a full-time mayor at a part-time salary. So I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I would be interested to hear how you feel about a full-time mayor. And it goes back to what Tim maybe just said, does it limit your candidates? I don't know. I've had somebody reach out to me and said, if they did a full-time mayor, I'd quit my job and do it. And he'd be a hell of a candidate. He would be.
So but I don't think you can you force a elected official to work full-time, I guess?
I don't think you can, because just like your elected county officials, and now I don't remember, I've been away from it so long, but like, they're just paid to do that job whether they come into the office or not. So you could pay a higher wage and you would not necessarily, I don't think council can require an elected official to be there for 40 hours a week.
When we hired Stephanie, the existing council actually made a decision to move forward with changing our form of government to a city manager position, which took the vote of the people to do that. And it's my understanding that, and we also looked very, very hard at a full-time mayor, but it was, if I remember correctly, that form of government would have to get voted on also.
For what? The city manager?
The city manager
That
form.
Well,
failed.
for a full-time mayor also.
No, again, you're
Or
an
what?
aldermanic, strong mayor form of government. So the mayor is the chief CEO of the city, but I don't know if council or anyone could require a mayor to be here 5 hours a week or 45 hours a week.
Oh, I got
They're
you.
an elected official, they're not a hired employee. So the difference is, I mean, Mayor and I had a conversation about this just a couple weeks ago. You know, I don't know how you tell an elected official how often to be in the office.
Jeff, I believe it falls back to the, if I remember right, city manager and a city administrator.
Yeah,
That
those
was
are-
the two
Well,
differences.
That's right.
And not
That's
for
why
the,
we move forward with the city administrator,
Right.
because we could make that decision as a council versus having it publicly voted on, where the city manager theoretically is your CEO. We still have our chair right here as our CEO.
correct, but that's why
Yeah.
we can't mandate a mayor to be here full-time,
And
so.
Jordan, close your ears for just a second. Because the way we could enforce a mayor who's not doing their job is impeach them. We have that authority, we have that power. And so if that would be something we were exploring or looking at. I wouldn't necessarily disagree that is something we could do, but that would be the remedy, is that if we moved into that path, that would be the action that council could take, is say, we want this person here full-time, you're not meeting that expectation, this is the reaction to that.
Maybe what you're saying is.
I don't think you can for that.
I don't know
Has
that
to
that
go
would be,
fiat of all.
yeah, there are certain things that the council
Impeachment for
has the
laziness.
authority to impeach on. I don't think that would probably fall under that, but it'd be something I'd have to put more research into. You know, really what you'd be looking at is controlling it with the purse strings. You know, you set the salary for the position, that's the authority you've got. It's up to the mayor as their own elected official
Right.
to determine how they're carrying out their functions of their office.
And then the other comment that I had shared with Mayor Hansen too, I hope this is okay, but to some extent, the people get a vote for what they want. Mayor Hansen made it very clear when he was running that he intended to be in the office full-time, and people elected that. Somebody else could run and say, look, I intend on being in the office part-time, and if people elect it, that's the direction of your citizens voting and electing that person into office too. So I think really we make that choice as people who vote when we go out and cast our ballots as well.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna echo on, Stephanie, is doing that exact thing. I mean, we have mayors that have been one-term mayors, and there's a reason why they were a one-term mayor if they reran. So I think you're exactly right, the public has the right to speak on what they want. I mean, I don't think what we have going on is broken. I think each mayor that I've served under, 5 or 6 of them, let me see, those that have came and gone, there was reasons for it, and those that were here and reelected, there was another reason for it. But I don't think we have a problem with our system, and I think each mayor can do what they want, and like you said, the public will make that decision for them if they want to keep them around or not. So I like what we have going on with our so-called part-time hours, let's just call it. I don't even know if you want to legally call it that, but you know what I'm saying? They serve their hours that they want to serve while they're here as elected official, as a mayor. I also like the fact that we're on 3-year terms. I think 2s are too short, 4s are too long, but I also do like the fact that the next coming election, and I think you echoed to it, Jordan, on the mayor-wise, going a back-to-back 2-year, and then they would be in 2031, so we'd have 3-year terms for everybody. I really like the fact that the mayor would be all by himself. I think that would entice a lot more people to run for mayor. I think it would entice people on council to run for mayor because it's also their off year, which we've had that before, where we've had a mayor or a council member sitting here to run for mayor and didn't win, and all of a sudden they're completely gone. I mean, I think it might change a lot of uniformity up on who might be interested in putting their name in that hat. So I really like to get it to that 2031, rotating in the 3rd year, so.
I should have mentioned too, to answer more of Councilmember Baskey's comment too, council sets the wages for elected officials as well. So, and I've shared with Mayor Hansen the comparison of the other cities that have mayor wages and city council wages as well. So you always have the ability to review that, and if you choose that you want to make that salary higher, you could propose that when, sorry, I'm still hard to talk with my asthma, I apologize. But you can make that proposal when you approve that salary resolution as well.
Stephanie, I'm so glad you brought that up. I was like, you read my mind. Didn't we, within not too many years, I mean, time flies, but I feel like we increased the mayoral salary like a pretty significant amount.
Mayor and council have always went up with whatever the COLA is for the ranges of the
But did
city
we-
employees.
Did we go up on with the base?
Not since I've been here. I can tell you though, when I did that comparison, our mayor, other than Sioux Falls and Rapid City, is the highest paying position, but so is our council members, so. In comparison to the other first-class municipalities.
I guess the reason I thought of it was, I personally know the financial, I don't want to say loss, because he enjoys his job, but he puts in an enormous amount of time, and financially, and I'm not just advocating for Jordan, anybody that takes the job seriously is going to put their time in. And it's a financial strain, it could become a financial strain for someone, and then it does the opposite effect of what Mr. Goldheimer was saying. It really limits your pool that way, because you don't want to run, and, you know, if you work at Vantage Point, it would probably be very hard for you to run for mayor, because you'd have to be available. Or you wouldn't have to be, according to Stephanie.
So I'd entertain a
Well,
motion.
that's not me, that's state law.
No, I know,
so.
I know. I guess on that same note, after we get through all this, I would really like, I'm requesting, I guess, to bring back discussion on term limits.
Do you want to give the mayor a huge raise first, or? Just kidding. Just kidding, I'm not asking for a raise. Yeah,
But if
no.
But if he is asking for a raise, you can do that mid-year as well. You don't have to wait.
No,
until
don't
the
give me a
annual
raise.
resolution.
No, I would agree that I think if you paid the mayor more, and I'm not asking for a raise ever, now or in the future, but I think if you paid someone more money, you might get someone more qualified than me.
Coming back to Mike's comment, is there any way of putting that to a public vote on the term limits?
It's an ordinance.
How would you,
I think that would probably end up needing to be something, if you wanted it on the ballot. it
somebody's
would-
gonna have to carry a petition?
Somebody's gonna have to do an initiated, petition for it, or they're gonna have to do a referendum. You know, you guys can pass the action, and then they can refer that if they want to have it taken to a vote.
We just
We-
can't simply take it to the vote.
Right, council can't take the action to set it for a vote directly.
Okay.
And my only response to your request for term limits is, there have been, I think, or if we look around the table, I don't know how many of us have run unopposed in more than one election, but it's not as if we have this overabundance of people who want these positions. So I think we have to proceed with caution with that, because at the end of the day, you want to make sure that we have, you know, qualified people who are running for the position. And if no one is running for the position, then we have an issue.
I don't think we have an issue, because the mayor can appoint somebody in that ward if nobody ran, and if nobody ran and you were term limited, you could still be allowed to be on there by the rules that we've discussed. So I don't know where the problem lies in getting the best candidate, because I'm not gonna talk down to somebody that's running against me just because I've been here for 10, 12 years. Well, you're saying that you don't get a qualified candidate. You're judging people that haven't even ran yet against you. You're
I'm saying
judging
you don't
them.
have a candidate. And
that's what I
let's say
said, then
I'm
you would
term
be placed
limited
back in
out,
that seat.
Hey,
then
no
one
yelling.
runs against me, so that's my only thing.
But you would be allowed to take that seat back if nobody ran against you, even if you were, well, if you don't want it, then that's where the mayor appoints somebody, correct?
Well, in reality is if we put it on here and we vote on it, then what other side is could refer it at that point in time. They would have to take a petition, so I would have no problem with that.
I think we would, I personally think we would have a big pool of candidates. I think the last election, there was 9 people running for 3 seats. You had 2 people against you, 2 against you, and 1 against you, so 8 people for 3 seats. I think there's a good, and
All good discussion, but I'm gonna reel back in and go to this
Okay.
one here and make a motion that we retain the council at the 3 years and move the mayor to 2 consecutive 2-year terms.
and then 3 year
Does
after
make
that.
sense? And then after that will be 3, thank you. That would be one,
Now-
just a
It'd be-
variation
yeah,
of
it'd
number
be
1.
a variation on the
But breaking
alternate,
4-year
or on the
into
first one.
2-year terms.
I'm with you, I'll have it ready for next council meeting.
Okay.
So,
Oh, we can't vote on it tonight, can we?
No, so this will be just first reading.
Oh,
So
it is, okay.
we'll bring the amended version back
Even-
for
even
the
with
second reading.
change? Even with the change?
Well, if you're adopting the change as part of your first reading approval.
Yeah.
So we'll bring the amended version back for the second reading, and then you can vote on it at that time.
Okay, all right. I'll stay with my motion then.
And we have, okay, any further discussions? Would anyone in the audience like to discuss this? Okay.
Yeah, I'd like to, Jay Wempe, I'd like to discuss just the part about the mayor's salary.
I don't, are they allowed, because it wasn't
Because
technically
you
part
guys
of
brought
this?
it up in the discussion here.
That's up to your guys' discretion.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, go for it. What
I
the
have
heck?
I have no clue what the mayor's salary is. I'm gonna just guess it's 50,000. Just throwing a number out. Do you know a CEO gets a heck of a lot more than that? And he's the CEO of the city? I mean, 6 figures would not touch a vice president at Vantage Point. CHR Solutions. Just thoughts.
And I'm not asking for that. And I will say, though, Stephanie did provide a very good list, and actually, Mitchell's got the 3rd highest paid mayor in the state after Sioux Falls and Rapid City, which means I need to work even harder.
Not that I was saying it's not enough, I'm
Yeah.
just giving the.
No, yeah. It is it was.
All good discussion.
Yeah. Okay. Anyone else in the audience like to discuss this? Okay. All those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Motion to enter into executive session according to SDCL 125-2 for negotiations.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Goldhammer, second by Mr. Ricardo. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. There will be no action after executive session.
Test, test.
Is this board on?
No, I turned it off when we go, because otherwise it's.